Can you hear me? Hello, hello. Moshi moshi. So yeah, my PC blue screened for a minute there. I think I must have hit like a little sensitive spot on it. Yeah. But everything's fine. I just needed to shut it down and then turn it back on again. Everything is A-okay.
저녁은 저녁만
점수 준비 끝.
Alright, I'm gonna try to get back to where I was. I went to, like, push in my chair. I went to, like, scoot in my chair, right? Because I had just gotten up to get my water bottle. And, I accidentally, pushed it in, and I hit my finger between, I smashed my finger in between the chair and the PC. And I think it hit, like, a sensitive spot, because it blue screened. I took a picture and I posted it on my community tab on the main channel. Hang on, let me pull up the picture. Oh, wait, it's not capturing the game. Whoops. limbuscompany.exe. Image. Okay, browse. Download. This is what happened. With the Limbus Company still visible in the fucking background. I'm pretty sure it was still playing the music too. Hey, oh, whoops, I'm not supposed to be using window capture for this, I'm supposed to be using game capture. Blue Dante is real. Blue Dante will be real in 10 minutes. think this is like the line we left off on.
The outskirts region of the Great Lake. I've met all kinds of people from all over Terra, but I've never met anyone who referred to the Iberian Sea that way.
Terra? Iberia? As I found myself puzzled by these unfamiliar terms, a very obvious question suddenly struck me. Speaking of which, who are you? Oh, really? You fellows haven't introduced yourselves to each other yet? It's just that it's all just a lot to take in. It's understandable. You did just wake up from a pretty harrowing experience. She is... actually, would you like to do the honors yourself?
I'm Amia, the leader of Rhodes Island. Please, just call me Amia.
Yeah. I'm Dante, manager at Limbus Company. I know I'm late, but thanks for saving my bacon. Bro is literally just chilling. So happy for him. It seems that this Rodeo Island is a pretty big corporation, but... Gregor trails off ominously and scratches his head before continuing with some mild trepidation. This young lady with the rabbit ears doesn't know what the head is at all.
As far as I know, there aren't any organizations in Terra with the same characteristics as the one Mr. Gregor explained. At least not with a name like the Head. Also, sorry, it's Rhodes Island, not Rodeo.
Sorry, Gregor's kind of bad with names. So, what you're saying is that we're not in the city anymore? It'd be weird for any higher up at these huge corporations to know less about the Head than we do, let alone be completely clueless about it. Well, maybe we've tumbled into a previously undiscovered zone at the outskirts of the ruins. Probably. Or maybe we've really found ourselves in a completely different world. This is gonna serve as great reference material for the what am I gonna call this fucking thing? What am I gonna call the literary work that I'm working on? I have no idea. Whatever. Once it's done, I'm probably gonna publish it on like fucking, I don't know. I have like a Wattpad for this channel that literally only has that one fan fiction on it that I thought was funny. So I'll probably put it there. Oh wait, no, they fucking banned NSFW content on AO3. Well then again, it's not like I'm gonna go into detail. Yeah, it's not like there's gonna be any detail. It should be fine. It's gonna be like my immortal type, like, he took off my shirt and then we did it. This wasn't like the time we accidentally stranded ourselves in the outskirts via a door in the corridor. Amiya stared at me with some concern, as though she felt my distress.
I think I can draw a connection to something else that's happening here.
Really?
Yes. Recently, anomalous signs and events have been occurring in Iberia, ever since a mysterious dimensional door appeared at sea.
Yeah, they fucking killed me and they're puppeting my corpse around. What can you do?
And it's been said that this dimensional door is connected to something very, very distant. Something that we've never observed before. So...
Help! Help me! Help! Seems reasonable to theorize the dimensional door is how he managed to cross over to this world. I really would have appreciated Faust's input. Where'd all the other sinners go, anyway? That is not a question for me, because I do not have Shichu Nishma. A bit late on the uptake to be gawking around for the other sinners now, don't you think? They're at a settlement near here, where they're all helping out with various odds and ends of the village. While taking turns searching for Dante, of course. You know, I never thought about how difficult it would be to search for someone. And we're like fish out of water, too. Man, barely even got a wink of sleep since yesterday. Everyone's gotta be really tired then. So it's just you two out here for now? No. Ishmael and Yi-Sang are the other half of the search party. And we just happen to be the last group in the rotation. They must be searching elsewhere to find you, Manager Bud. We got the news early thanks to Amiya's comm scare, but the other team didn't. Yeah, we got lucky. The other team, well, we don't have any way to get in touch with them, so they'll probably continue their search until the shift is done.
Oh, are we talking about that village you mentioned earlier?
Uh-huh. Right. You've not been there yet. Oh. I guess it's a bit off the beaten path. Well, we're going to have to rendezvous with the other sinners anyway, so let's head to the village for now. Something seemed to pique Amiya's interest as she fell into contemplative silence, before carefully speaking up.
I would like to accompany you there.
Sure. I don't see why not. You helped us find Manager Bud, and more importantly, you seem to know a lot more about this place than we do.
I don't actually know Iberia that well either, but I should be of some help. They've closed their borders and have practically locked out any foreign influences from affecting them, but I did get a briefing before the mission.
Closed borders, huh? Now how did you get in, Miss Amiya?
We followed Dr. Kaltzit's directions and illegally crossed the country border.
Illegally? Crime? You can't do that! That's illegal! You can't commit crimes! It's against the law! Oh? Does this mean you crossed the border without obtaining any permission, Amiya?
We had to cross the border somehow in order to investigate how and why a dimensional door came to be.
Huh. Is it normal for pharmaceutical companies to be doing that? Large pharmaceutical companies often dispatch their agents for missions.
Yes, Rhode Island is, in its essence, a pharmaceutical company researching treatments for people infected with oropathy. But we also work prevent and assist in the management of various situations that can occur in high-risk areas.
Every Gregor must take one of Ryoshu's 500 cigarettes the moment that she hears the Grinch say, I need to be impregnated. High-risk areas, huh? Wait, what about your companions? I doubt you came all the way here on your own.
That's, we were forced to split up due to certain forces that were in pursuit. Wait, stop!
After. Amiya's ears twitched as she came to a stop and began scanning the surrounding area. Then,
There!
as we stood about confused, Amiya, noticing something, pointed toward the seashore hidden behind large and cragged rock formations. What are we supposed to... Huh? There, we saw someone wielding a lengthy greatsword, bickering with two familiar faces.
Again, move! You're in the way!
You needn't worry as you do. We have had ample experience battling monsters who are much like them.
Listen, I'm not worried. It's...
Come on, better to have 3 fighters than 1, right? Besides, you're the first person we ran into out here, so we've got a lot of questions to ask. Yi-Sang! Ishmael! Dante, you are unharmed. And here I was getting ready for a 3 days long search. What a relief. We were all really worried that we might never be able to find you. We managed to find them thanks to help from Miss Amiya here.
Amiya?
Hmm? Are you two acquainted? The Grinch predict or react? I don't What? Is that like asking whether like he's like the dominant one or the submissive one? I guess he would be submissive because he's the one getting impregnated. Not a good time for a reunion.
It can wait until after we take out the sea monsters. Scotty, are those organisms the seaborns Dr. Kultzit mentioned? They're sea terrors, to be specific. The less sophisticated ones among them. And they're probably here for me.
Sea terrors? I hear the sticky noise of something viscous slithering against the rocks. When I turn to face the origin of the unsettling noise, I smell the heavy... I smell the heavy, wet scent of brine. At the end of my gaze awaits strange monsters, unlike distortions, unlike abnormalities, unlike anything I'd ever seen. It is as though the sea itself is encroaching on the land. Welcome to the stream. Welcome back, everyone.
I was almost certain we weren't at the Great Lake, but I'm not so sure anymore.
Her experiences with the thick scent of brine at the Great Lake must have put her in a wary mood. As Ishmael seemed to be a lot more apprehensive about these monsters than anyone else. Do you think those creatures could be whales or mermaids?
I don't know. The Great Lake and the outskirts are full of unexplored mysteries, after all.
Dante, what do your senses say? It's unclear. I'd say the closest comparison I could make is with the whales, but even that's not conclusive. Oh.
More enemies on the horizon. We should prepare for battle.
Doesn't seem like we can talk things out with them, though. So, let's take them out!
limbusカンパニーの皆さんとご一緒できて本当に嬉しいです。
운이 따라준다면 좋겠네요.
敵に対して大きな打撃を与えました。効果的な攻撃でした。敵は深手を負っています。
운이 따라준다면 좋겠네요.
Yeah, we'll be fine. Yeah, the first thing. First name Biggie, last name shit. I mean, the main channel is Biggie Piss. But still.
선생님, 봤어요?
Yeah.
サンタさんの作戦とても効果的でした。
가서 완료.
선생님, 봤어요?
囚人の皆さんの状態を確認する必要がありそうです。
30 stack becomes staggered, then take fixed damage equal to suck my dick. We're just gonna have to not get
고작
30 of them.
터뜨려주지.
And that should be pretty easy.
얼어라지. 정신 못 차릴 거야.
또한 용서할 테니
敵は深手を負っています。
나아가 주게. 잠든 그대를 기를
선생님,
I have my only
싶군요.
full-length
잠든
shift
그대를 기를 테니
of my only full-length shift of the week tomorrow.
고작 터뜨려주지.
So that kind of blows.
선생님,
But oh well.
봤어요? 너무
It's
쉽군요.
like 10 a.m. to like
또한
6 or 7 or so.
Mission accomplished.
Yeah, I remember that. It's really sad we lost him so young. Such a shame. He got caught up in a car accident, and then a train came by, and then a plane crashed. And it was all such a tragedy. It was so horrible.
All remaining enemies have retreated to the sea. Good work, everyone.
Whew. Didn't think I'd have to deal with anything remotely like this outside the Great Lake. For real, on Smegma. You can say that again. Would have taken us the whole day if that Scotty character didn't occupy the other half while Miss Rabbit helped us from a distance. So we were catching our breath after the battle. I heard a brief hum. When I turned to look at its source, I saw Scotty glaring at me with palpable alarm.
Strange people who transform. And a head of clock?
Gregor has that level 10 gyat. Why do you think one of the first memes of Limbus Company was Gregnancy? Never forget the Greg Preg. I was there for Gregor birth copy pasta. I guess they're both technically true.
Well, it's no.
Oh wait, I totally got the delivery wrong on that line. Whatever.
Well, it's nothing more than a theory at this point. I think they have a lot to do with the dimensional door we're supposed to be investigating.
I mean... Kinda true, yeah, I admit. Priest Gregor does have a lot of aura. Nice to meet you, I guess?
I only hear a ticking clock.
Oh, that's because only us sinners can hear Dante's voice. Huh? What's up? On Skibidi. No. I'm just wondering how Miss Omnia can seemingly understand Dante. Yeah. What's going on here? Huh. Yeah, it completely flew over my head that I didn't even question how weird this is.
Their voice sounds like a ticking clock to me too, but I don't know. It's almost like I can sense what they're trying to say. What kind of emotion they're trying to convey.
Her explanation reminded me of the blue boy in Sinclair's past, but I didn't quite feel the uncanny sensation from Omnia that I felt from them. So she can read me, kind of like how Virgilius can, I guess? Well, I don't think it's a bad thing.
That's true. It's been a bit of a hassle to always need Faust or Honglu to translate for you, Dante.
I'd like to know exactly how she can understand Dante, but I don't think we've got the luxury of time to sit down and figure this out. I don't know, man. I haven't even tried floor 15. Number 1, gamble. Number 2, win the coin flip. number 3, if that doesn't work, uninstall your PC and kill your neighbor. Sounds like a plan. It's not like we know anywhere else to go, right? Oh, and Miss Rabbit there'll be tagging along too. I did not reference Omori. I still haven't played Omori. What in there relates to Omori? I'm scared. Also, hi, welcome to the stream, Messiah. She said she'd help us find our way back.
I'm glad to be working with you two also, Miss Ishmael. Mr. Honglu.
Took the words right out of my mouth. You've already helped us plenty. You clearly know a lot more about this place than we do. The journey is long. Perhaps embarking on it ere the sun's fall would be wise. Yeah, sure. I'll add that to my belief system. Why not? So an Arkanites is this thing, I guess. Anime woman.
How long's the journey?
No idea. It's not like we have a clock with us. Is that so, Gregor? I do know that it's not very far, though. We just need to walk along the coastline for a bit. Yeah, Arkanites is when the Grinch takes out his Grussie and Otis impregnates him. Scotty quietly points in my direction. Oh, Dante can't tell us the time because they're not on time. Yes, Grussie.
Then why the clock head?
I didn't exactly choose to get myself a clock-shaped head. I looked away from Scotty's inquisitive eyes, which were quite solidly fixed on my head.
The coasts of Iberia are hardly good places for people to live. Those things can go anywhere in this world, but they thrive at places that meet the ocean. So how did people manage to build a village at a place like this?
The monsters are called seaborns, or sea terrors, yes? While it is true they pose certain difficulties, they were hardly the kind of monsters with the strength to bring scourge and drive out the local populace. I mean, from the looks of it, she also has some weaponry.
Don't judge them based on that brief skirmish.
She's just telling us to be on our guard, right?
Scotty can be a bit curt, but she's not a bad person.
I don't think she said anything wrong. Nothing rules out the existence of stronger variants of these creatures being out there. Yeah, sure. I know what that means. And you're gonna believe me when I say that. Why? Because I said so. Scotty's concern only served to fan my curiosity, but something about her expression communicated that I probably shouldn't pry. So I quietly quickened my pace as we walked to the village.
어라, 언제 다 해치웠담? 이제 가도 되죠?
This hardly looks like a village. It's more like the ruins of one, isn't it? I see.
Doesn't seem like they've done any proper upkeep to the place. Not in a while, at least. They're really here, living together.
The strange buildings tell the stories of former prosperity from a bygone era. Our steps leave no footprints on the wet, muddy ground. On it, I see a rotting sign marked the name Faro Muerto. Everywhere I look in this village, I see evidence of long, silent abandonment.
We don't see these kinds of abandoned-looking ruins often in the city either.
Well, yeah. There's always someone or something out there waiting to capitalize on that free real estate. Be it a syndicate or a corporation, and fix it up. Better than this, at least. So, where are the sinners?
Huh? There's a clearing down there, where...
We were entrapped between a train of great ships, narrowing winds against our sail. And that is when young Ishmael boomed, her command most resonant. Say no more. And now I'm gonna try to not slam my fucking finger in the PC again. I didn't even have to try to search for them. An unmistakably sonorous and familiar voice, echoing triumphantly between the empty buildings. That's Don Quixote's voice when she's sharing her adventurous tales. There she was, standing atop a low podium like an actor on stage, regaling a group of people in rags with tales of our adventures like a traveling thespian. Answers, ye dogs! Oarsmen! 'Tis the moment I, Ishmael, the first mate of vessel Mephistopheles, shall have it. Stop! Hold on! Just what do you think you're doing? Young Ishmael! I had my mouth, for I was just about to regale them with the most fantastic tale of adventures of the great manager Esquire. Verily, thou hast returned with manager Esquire safely in tow. What? I found Glockhead. A burning clock for a head? When I was a child, I heard a story about a legendary sarcas with a flaming head. Why would someone like that visit our humble village? While their exterior may carry elements that inspire fear in some, there is no cause for alarm. Yeah, they might look like that, but they're Dante, our manager. And the rest are...
Oh, hello.
I'm sorry, who are you two?
They're two very nice people who helped us find Dante. This is Miss Amia, leader of Rhodes Island. And this is Miss Scotty, their operator. They'll be coming along with us for a little while.
With us?
We believe that the dimensional door, which we at Rhodes Island are investigating, has something to do with why you suddenly woke up here in Iberia.
As Amia was bringing the sinners up to speed. The villagers, who were staring at us curiously, approached us. Did our conversation manage to convince them that we're not a threat? I sure hope so. You are friends of our saviors.
Saviors?
Verily, 'tis quite the grand title, yet that is indeed the word by which we addressed. To be more precise, by saviors, they are referring only to Faust and Otis. Faust gave me a light nod and we made eye contact, but I could tell their lips were drawing a very, very sudden smiling arc. So, I'm guessing something did happen?
They were quite mistrustful upon our initial arrival.
Welcome to the stream. What business do outsiders have here? What if they're from the Inquisition?
Oh,
Oh no. What do we do? After all we went through to get here. Calm yourselves, everyone. None of them are carrying what appears to be their scriptures or lamps. Let's first try to see who they are. Man, I don't think they're gonna trust us anytime soon. They're all Kermigan. I've seen this word before, but I don't know how to pronounce it. Kermudgans. Kermagans. Congratulations! Your reward? Watching somebody else play a video game. Curmudgeons, I think. They're all old curmudgeons. Let's STNC then PTSD. You can't do that, Ryoshu! We can't pillage their storage depots! Looks like they already have it hard enough as it is. I don't think STNC is a good way to get started either.
Should we just find help elsewhere? Just look at how thin their arms are. I don't think they're in any shape to help us out.
Perhaps we could inquire as to our whereabouts ere we are to decide our lodging. While the landscape is certainly reminiscent of U-Corps, but I don't recall seeing or learning about any place that looks like this, though I can't say that I've been to every corner of U-Corp. I ask again, what business do outsiders have here? Their fingers are tightening around the grips of their weapons. Prolonged silence will most likely turn this into a hostile encounter. We can't have that! Hi, we're from Limbus Company. We're... Fixers of justice! Yeah, that. Fixers of Oh, don't you know when to keep it down? Fixers? That over there. It's a ship blueprint, isn't it? Are you looking to repair a vessel, by any chance? All these construction materials seem to suggest so. Because we are Limbus Company. Credits roll. The audience at the theater stands up and applauds. It makes 10 duntillion dollars. Chief, this does not concern you. It's not something a mere outsider can understand. Curious. I've never seen an energy source like this before. Have you run the tests to rule out any stability issues? It seems to power the heat exchanger via some method comparable to the utilization of fusion energy. Have you any thoughts on this, Miss Faust?
The general design structure is somewhat old-fashioned, but there certainly are inspired parts to this design, particularly with the usage of core energy source, while stability would need to be further studied. This technology seems to be incredibly energy efficient.
You identified all that merely by glancing at this blueprint?
Mm-hmm.
Wait, was the original Otis, like... Wait, no, Otis is from the Odyssey. Why the fuck am I confusing the Odyssey with the Trojan War? I don't know, the Odyssey had, like, a bunch of boat stuff, right? You must be the village chief, then. If so, I have a proposition for you.
In return for assisting in their ship repair.
Ah. We were promised a ride on their vessel. Miss Faust has theorized that perhaps, by going out to sea, we may be able to find a way to return to whence we came. Does that mean we can find a way back somewhere out there? Does that mean you can find a way back somewhere out there in the sea?
Nothing is certain yet, Dante. At this moment, we are working based on a hunch.
A hunch? Oh. I wonder if that Odyssey had a purpose. think that Odyssey is spelled with 2 S's, but I barely type out the word or write the word Odyssey. So I don't really know either. Sensing the implicit omen in her choice of words, I slowly turned around to look at Faust, who nodded solemnly in response. If we're really in a different world, even her Jessel shaft has to be...
No issues were encountered in the repair process.
Faust smiles faintly as she looks around, and she pulls me in by my hems. She whispered in a low voice.
Listen here. I need you to do this for me. I am whispering directly into your ear now. You need to get me a copy of Bambi for the PS2. If you do not do this for me, you will never see the light of day again.
My god, it's non-binary Yuri! Woohoo!
My connection to Jessel shaft is currently operating at a suboptimal level, Dante. The trillions and trillions of tiny Fausts inside my brain are eating each other. They're cannibalizing each other, Dante. Help me, Dante.
So it's still connected, at least?
Indeed, it is. However, even exchanges of simple information are taking up to dozens of hours by current calculation.
Is this a warp train situation? Because we're in a different dimension? Yeah. It's like when I go in the living room and suddenly my Google search for Honglu butt-ass naked defenseless takes like 3 minutes to load.
The cause should be identical. We have been connected to an unidentified, unpredictable dimension. However, Faust is aware that the pathway to our original dimension is yet to close this time, unlike the situation back over the warp train.
So, to get back to where we came from...
Indeed, traveling through the pathway is the most feasible solution.
And from that, you came up with the whole plan to repair the ship and sail out to the sea?
Yes, well, I am also a genius after all.
I mean, a conjecture that we probably came through a dimensional door of sorts. Looks like that dimensional door might be what Faust is looking for.
With high likelihood, yes.
At least there's a way back. I find myself calming down a little. Oh, speaking of which, when do you think you can wrap up the repair job? As fortune should have it, the majority of the most time-consuming parts of the repair have already been completed by the locals. Yeah. Faust just like, you pull up a Wikipedia article for her. One of the Faust pulls up the fucking like Wikipedia for like the history of hot sauce. It's just like,
and in 1997...
It shouldn't take us more than a day or two to get its core parts shape again, Executive Manager. We'll be staying here a few more days then. How did you manage last night? Well, like I said earlier, we've been keeping ourselves busy looking for you this whole time. We took turns helping with the repairs and resting, but I doubt any of us got a proper night's rest. Still, we weren't cold thanks to the villagers who kept the fire going for us all night.
Not to mention how they helped us a ton with that local math they drew us. Oh! Also, Chief handed us this earlier. What's it for?
Huh. Looks like a sack to collect water. Give it here. I know how to get that installed. It must be to repay Miss Faust and Miss Otis' efforts at repairing their ship. Yet, the service they provide us is certainly quite generous, even when taking the transactional nature into account. They're really giving us the best treatment they can, huh? As for food, we managed to fill ourselves with some cookies and bread Rhodia keeps in her pockets. Didn't want to eat into their food supply, and they're already pretty tight, you know? She's kind of real for that one. That's understandable. She carries enough cookies and bread for 12 people. They did offer us some nosh, those dried fish things, but we refused. I taken food from the needy. No need to concern yourself so much with our hospitality. You have done more than enough to earn your keep. Yep. Lest you start feeding on your party members. I turned around to look at the source of that low, rumbling voice and saw an old man in an outfit that seemed to distinguish itself amongst the other villagers. There you are, Chief. Is there a place for us to stay the night? We do have places to shelter from the misty humidity, at the very least. There is an empty building there, so feel free to occupy it for the night. Oh, are you sure? I mean, I don't mind sleeping in the streets myself.
Hey, speak for yourself! I've been looking forward to sleeping with a roof over my head since, like, yesterday.
You'll catch cold sleeping in the elements in this environment, which is fine by me for the rest of you, but we cannot afford to have the executive manager, our honored guest, suffer that fate.
Honored guests?
I heard what happened from the four who left in search of the executive manager. First, I would like to begin by imparting my infinite gratitude to you for finding and rescuing the executive manager. I hear that you are a leader at a pharmaceutical company. This acquaintance shall certainly come in handy, in case our stay becomes significantly prolonged. Haha!
I'm just surprised by her boldness to say something so materialistic when they're standing right there. Can I stay in your village too, Chief?
The village chief took a brief glance at the hems by her right wrist, then nodded. Welcome to Faro Muerto. You are welcome to stay for as long as you want. Yeah, I have no idea how big she's supposed to be. She's got some massive ears. I just realized those are like 1.5 times the size of her head, of like the like height of her head. Get your big ass ears out of the caption. And please, do let me know if you find yourselves without food. Our food supply may be tight indeed, but we have enough to share with those who helped repair the vessel. She's in there hearing everything, bro.
Ooh! Ooh! You better not go back on your word later. I wonder what kind of local delicacies await. Dried fish like they were eating earlier, maybe? Hey, Chief.
What is it?
Just how are you surviving out here? By the sea?
Perhaps the question of how we are surviving may be somewhat misdirected. For we are only pursuing every possible avenue because we must survive. The chief responds to Scatty's perceived hostility with a hearty smile. After leaving some firewood for the night, he left. LobCorp video? I don't know. I mean, I could stream Lobotomy Corporation. It's just that, you know, I've already beat the game. I currently actually have it in beta, so I could... I have the beta version, like, booted up. You can, like, do some very special secret techniques, and you can, like, play the betas. So maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll stream the beta versions.
I'm going. Can't learn much more from here.
No, you gotta do the Konami code. It's the secret Konami code. It's where you gotta go into System 32, and you need to start removing random files until it boots up. It works. I promise. Huh? You going somewhere at this hour? Scotty, does this have something to do with the coast? I remember what you said before we got to the village. Something about how coasts are hardly good places to live in.
Dante wants to know if this has something to do with the coast.
You.
Do you understand the Aegir language? The what? I don't know.
Aegir language? No. Welcome to the stream. I did, in fact, slam my shit. I slammed my fingy in the PC.
Dante, Scotty just spoke in Aegirian.
Actually, there's probably an actual way to pronounce that. A-E symbol. Pronunciation. Ash. I mean, like r/old English, because I don't want to use goddamn. Okay, so it's just an A sound.
I couldn't understand a word of Scotty and the chief's conversation because I don't speak Aegirian.
It may only be that there were enough lexical similarity between one of the city's languages and the language Scotty spoke in for them to comprehend the meaning.
Weird coincidence. Anyway, I have some things to look into. Something you're all too slow to see. You still have to tell us about it later. Please remember, you're not on a solo mission, Scotty. This is a team effort from Rhode Island.
I see. The British. My old arch nemesis.
Will do.
Scotty nodded lightly before leaping off into the night, out of our sights. I'm kind of worried.
She's not the best with people, but she's also pretty thoughtful. She'll be okay. Ah! Should we head inside? The sun's starting to set already.
Oh, yeah. We can probably just pick up an unlit building and stay the night there, right? Trying our best to ignore the mood that was starting to turn awkward, we made our way into a nearby unoccupied building. We walked past a few narrow buildings and remnants of narrow buildings before we came across a hall large enough to house all 15 or so of us.
Okay, now we're ready. With the curtains on the window removed, the smoke has an exit. Whoa! I thought we were doomed to shudder ourselves to sleep with the soaking wet firewood and all. I had no idea that'd work. We just have to get a small fire going underneath it until the wood dries up and catches fire. The downside being all this smoke.
Maybe eventually. It's clear that she has some field experience, unlike some fools I know. That's just how things look sometimes. I shan't sit here and let her carry the burden of labor alone. Bequeath upon me thine ingredients, young Rodion, for I shall conjure thee a special pot of fixer soup. No, no way. Banned from the kitchen.
You're making soup with cookies and jelly?
No! 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 You are not getting anywhere near the kitchen again. Not after what you cooked up last time. Banger screenshot. Get her out of the kitchen! Oh, of course Yi-sang! Of course Yi-sang has the little, like, sparkly emoji. Oh, Yi-sang! You jokester! Oh, you funny man! Fucking guy, man. Well, I must admit to a certain level of interest. As many of our fellows' viscera are oft racked with intense agony upon ingesting dishes of your making, perhaps it would be wiser that we save the occasion for a safer environment. Right, sorry. I'll make sure that I pull back farther next time. Cause I'm like, you know how you hear this whenever I do the voices? That's me pushing my chair back. That's me leaning back in my chair farther away.
Right. Don't you remember? We agreed to leave cooking to Muir Odie if we're ever in a situation like this, remember?
Did we? See, I think it's become sort of an unspoken rule after everything that happened. Remember? Back during last year's cooking contest at K-Corp, they were the only two people who managed to get remotely positive reviews. Oh! Does this mean we'll get to try Otis's cooking once again? Denied. We still have plenty of high-calorie foods like cookies and jellies here. I find no reason to do something so inefficient. Yeah, Hell's Chicken referenced? Peak? Peak mentioned?
I'm glad to see that everyone's still energetic given the circumstances. It can't be easy to suddenly wake up in an unfamiliar environment.
Well, we're all quite used to getting thrown to unfamiliar places. Speaking of which, did you manage to reach your colleagues, Amiya? She shook her head, concerned.
They might have lost their comms devices. Or maybe they ran into some other trouble.
Man, I'm hungry as hell. You know what I'm gonna do once this stream is over? I'm gonna go to the grocery store. I'm gonna get tortillas. I'm gonna make myself a quesadilla, the way I always do it. Because we have an electric stove here. I'm gonna put the tortilla right on the stove, and nobody can stop me. This is how I have learned to do it. This is how I like it. Also, by the way, if you're ever making a quesadilla, I would recommend putting just like a tiny little bit of salt on it. I like it. How hungry. Oh man, I'm so hungry I could eat a... I'm so hungry I could eat a... I'm so hungry. Could they be in danger? Oh, wait, no, wait. No, she's a rabbit, not a horse. God, fuck, the joke doesn't work!
I don't know, but I'm sure they're okay. The doctor, Dr. Kaltzit, Dr. Kaltzit, they're both more than capable enough to look after themselves.
Long have this curiosity lingered within me, thus allow me to inquire. Corporations are, by their nature, organizations in pursuit of profit. Hungry Squad. For real. Yet the activities of your corporation resemble those of charity organizations, as opposed to a pharmaceutical company. Is there aught that might explicate this blurred distinction? I just remembered that Reverse 1999 exists. Man, I miss that game. Maybe I should download it on my phone. Maybe I should, like, delete one of the gacha games that I have. Well, nah, I can't really do that. It's FGO, Uma, and this one other game that I have to keep on my phone. And if I delete FGO, I can't get it back because it's the global version. So you can't link your account. And then Uma is Uma, I log in every day, and then there's another gacha game that I log into every day. Yeah, I play FGO. I don't really play it that much anymore. I'll probably come back when they bring in CL because I'm really more into Tsukihime than anything else. I really like Caster Ku specifically. True, real true. It makes me wish there was like an even faster skip button because I still have grind levels from what is it, London lying around, or whatever the British singularity is. But it's like it takes so fucking long. Oh yeah, true. I'm not even sure if FGA would work for me. It's like that auto helper thing, right? I have an iPhone, so I'm not even sure that FGA would work for me. I don't know, maybe I just have to delete a bunch of pictures, because I have so many fucking pictures on my phone. And then I can re-download Reverse 1999, because that game is so good. I just wish I didn't fucking, like, stop playing once I got finished with the current story. And then, like, it's a common problem I have in gacha games, where if they have, like, a main story that I'm interested in, I'll read all of it, and then I'll be like, okay, now that I've done that, I can stop reading it for now. And then they'll come up with an update, and I'll be like, I'll read it later, and I keep putting it off. How much? I'm scared to check, but I'm gonna see how much space I have. I have, I have about 19 gigabytes left. So I guess hypothetically, I could reinstall Reverse 1999. 19 gigabytes. Uh-huh. I wanted to know too. How come a pharmaceutical company like Rhode Island's is helping people? Oh, and Reverse 1999 does a PC client, but I have like I'm constantly putting more stuff on my computer. I have 30 gigs right now. And I need more space for stuff that isn't Reverse 1999. Something about what Hong Lu said brings back unpleasant memories. The horrible experiment seen through the cascade of flowing tears in the face of suffering. The embodiment of greed that left a terrible wound in Hong Lu's fathoms. The pharmaceutical companies I've seen in my journey were corporations that, despite possessing the capacity to heal, chose to obsess over the profit it can provide.
There are many in Terra who are suffering from a disease. The disease crystallizes you. It spreads deeper and deeper into the infected's internal organs, eventually culminating in their death. It's called oropathy.
Amiya showed me the back of her right hand, dotted by what appeared to be obsidian crystallizations. Its appearance reminded me of the bio-treatments from the back streets, but there was something more to it, something more restless, more sinister.
It's a terrible, painful disease, but there haven't been any recorded cases of full recovery. But there's an even worse problem.
Yeah, 19 gigs. Pray tell, what could possibly be worse than an incurable deadly disease?
While it varies region by region, discrimination against the infected is widespread across Terra.
Those who suffer from it must face unfair treatment. Yi Sang began with a dark expression.
Some are quarantined in places with terrible, inhumane conditions, and there have been massacres too.
I don't mean to be callous, but is this oropathy highly contagious?
No, there have not been any recorded cases of infection by contact, as long as the subjects are alive. But when the infected dies, the crystal growths on their body decay and turn to dust, scattering, which is what spreads the plague.
Man, this makes the plot of Arknights seem like really interesting. I'm always a sucker for like mysterious disease plot lines and stuff. Then, barring environments like active battlefields where casualties are to be expected, staying within close proximity of the infected in daily life seems to pose hardly any risk. So what's the problem then? They're already past the point of caring about what the problem is. Once people start feeling iffy, all logic goes out the window.
Then Rhode Island's goal has to be... Yes, it's important to develop a cure for oropathy, but I think what really matters is that we change the circumstances for the better for the infected.
So is this like a commentary on like disability and stuff? And the way people like treat disabled people like they're infectious or something? It's not going to be an easy endeavor, though that is what gives your effort more meaning. Welcome back. I hope you can achieve that goal, Amiya. I really do. For truth. The city, this world. We both live in worlds full of surprises, don't we?
What kind of world did you come from? This city.
What kind of place is this city, anyways? Yeah. Kind of place with too many pointless rules. The kind of place where the moment you think, isn't this too much? You see something even worse. Try as I might, I couldn't think of a single positive thing about the city. Bye bye. See you next stream, maybe. I can think of a positive thing about the city. Fried chicken. Yummy! The sinners seemed to be in agreement, as most of what came after was quite scathing. The kind of place where good deeds rarely ever go unpunished, where sympathy is a good attitude to have if you like getting stabbed in the back. Nothing good ever works out there. It's a shithole. It's an irrational place full of absurdities. Absurdity is an omnipresence. Therefore, it is not a subject by which one should be aggrieved.
We can at least grouse about them, though. I mean, it's the only thing we can do.
It would be more correct to experience more and acclimatize oneself to it, instead of complaining. You did say something like that last time. Just as the mood was starting to turn rather sour, Don Quixote's shout shattered the awkwardness. Verily, nary a day goeth by untarnished by villains and their fell deeds.
Yet were they not?
Hang on.
For where evil riseth, so doth fixers of justice.
Don Quixote jumped from her seat and passionately shook her fist, which was followed by a heavy crack. Hang on. And the sound of small pebbles tumbling down.
Don Quixote, watch out!
And from behind the wall she accidentally broke down. An unfamiliar visage of a villager appeared and stared back at Don Quixote. It appeared that she was eating something out of a can while reading a book.
How farest thou? Farest thy foot! You gotta apologize first!
That seemed a tad too high, but it
Apologies, for I hardly expected the wall to crumble with such ease. Art thou unhurt? Any injuries? Two?
Two?
Pray tell, to what? Forget the apology. I just want to know what happens next. The fixers of justice rose up to do what?
Hang on, I gotta turn the volume down on my fucking. I gotta turn the voice volume down. Hast thou come to me to hear the tale of fixers?
I don't know about coming to us, given how Miss Don Quixote was the one who punched the wall down. Oh, is it too late now? I don't mind waiting till morning if you want to sleep.
Nay, not at all. 'Tis quite early an hour for tales, in fact. Prithee, seat thyself here. You ungovernable fool. Calm down. We don't even know who she is. And don't you forget to share those fixer tales over there in the corner to not disturb our sleep. Thou makest a request most untenable. These tales deserve to be announced to the world with great gusto from the center.
Yeah, that's the best way to hear those kinds of stories. We should probably introduce ourselves to each other first. Name's Mayers. How should I put this?
Haha, yeah.
Did you meet the village chief earlier during the day? He's my Gramps.
Oh, that nice guy? So he had a granddaughter. Yet, I have not seen you once, Miss Mayers, under the sun.
Oh my, you're right. I thought the village was completely dried of any young blood.
Like Rhodia said, well, we didn't see Mayers out there. There wasn't anyone else in the village we could comfortably call young.
You're telling me Gramps was worrying over nothing and told me to stay put inside. Going on and on about the dangers that the outsiders pose and everything.
It seems that they do not give full faith to their saviors. There are things you cannot share even with whom you trust your life. Though, I would like to know why.
My. So there are a bunch of other kids who are stuck in... Oh, so there are a bunch of other kids who are stuck indoors in this village? No, there isn't anyone around my age in the village at all.
if that's the case, I guess I can understand why you'd be overprotective.
Anyways, it's our turn. We are... I'm good. I heard enough to get an idea.
You did? Huh? Pray, how didst thou hear us? By a listening device most secret about our chamber? Mayos tapped the side of the wall, the part that was still standing anyway, and smiled ironically.
That's soundproofing. I could hear pretty much everything. Don Quixote, right? Everything Don Quixote practically sang during the day.
Verily, I see. I think you could really do with some sense of embarrassment for once.
Well, I guess that's good enough for self-introduction, so... Can you regale me with the tale of fixtures who bring justice to the evils of the city?
Indubitably. Then, shall do. I shall regale thee with the tale in which the legendary fixer, the Arch-Magnificence herself, the Red Mist. Suppose that killed any hope for a good night's skip. But, don't you usually pass out within a minute of your back heading to hay, no matter how noisy things are? Well, do you take me for some kind of hibernating bear or something? Look, even I have trouble sleeping when there's noise all over. Oh, the twinkle eyes. True, true. I'd say bear in hibernation is a pretty apt descriptor. For all that grumbling and moaning, he dozed off before any of us did. Aside from Heathcliff, who began snoring the moment his head touched the ground, some other sinners were fast asleep as well. Mearsal had entered sleep in his usual steadfast adherence to the routine, while Faust laid claim to one of the few available cloth sheets as soon as the close of the business for day was confirmed. The sinners, who had spent the entire last night searching for me in this unfamiliar land, slowly began to fall asleep as well. Meanwhile, the fixer of the Zoya Association's first section. Though the night was no longer young, Don Quixote was still vigorously sharing the tales of adventures without even a single sign of fatigue. She's not determined to do this until sunrise, is she?
Ooh.
I guess it's okay, since Mayor seems to be having fun. As I continued to watch the pair with some mild concern, Amia, not yet asleep, approached me.
The city Miss Don Quixote speaks of seems to be teeming with fixers of justice and exhilarating tales of adventures. Did you actually experience all of them yourselves? No, of course not. Don Quixote's stories are usually those of other famous people. But she's telling it with such vigor that it almost sounds like she was there herself. Well, I guess, if you really want to get into that, some of them might be retellings of Don Quixote's personal experiences. Ishmael replied uncertainly, thinking back to the plays we were made to watch back in La Mancha Land. Well, I think all those stories, even though they're only partially true, just go to show what a ridiculous place it can be. We wouldn't need fixers of justice to begin with if we really lived in a just world, right? A really good place to live would be quiet and peaceful without someone having to force it. Dude, Heathcliff's sleeping stream when? That's true. I hope there will come a day when Rhode Island can become a normal pharmaceutical company in the future.
Huh? Something wrong? No, I just thought Miss Mayers and I made eye contact. Did she overhear our conversation? I looked to her direction as well, but all I saw was Mayers excitedly reacting to Don Quixote's tales.
Whoa! What happened then?
Thus spake Lady Otis, boldly before the soldiers who stood in our path. Thou presumest to stand in our path, servant of a master most unworthy. Otis shall educate ye on how manner maketh. Don Quixote was now retelling the stories of Limbus Company's adventures in Honkywan, and Otis, who could no longer stand Don Quixote's unintentional alterations of the story, jumped to her feet and shouted, Damn it! What kind of nonsense are you feeding her? I never said anything like that. Verily, certain aspects of this retelling may have been exaggerated.
That's Tales of Adventures for you. Things are bound to get a bit dry when a story is told too realistically and as is, right? You know, nothing, not even anything resembling a proper record or book remained once the profound silence swept through this village. So I've always had a craving for these kinds of stories. But Iberia doesn't stop Iberians from emigrating, contrary to their tight immigration control. Have you ever thought about leaving this place? It's still a challenge to cross the border, especially since you're going to have to pass through larger cities that are managed by the Inquisition.
You don't seem particularly fond of this Inquisition. Why is that?
That's because this village was formed by people who grew tired of living under the Inquisition's rule and fled.
Sorry, but what kind of organization is this Inquisition? Sinclair asked, face turning cold upon hearing the word Inquisition, and that people fled from it. Yeah, the Nagerlund hammer we saw back at Cal weren't the kind of memories that are so easily forgotten.
According to Dr. Kaltzit, the Inquisition is what filled the power vacuum once Iberia fell into chaos. That's Inquisitors are the rapier and lamp-wielding protectors of Iberia's cities from lawlessness.
So they're cops. That alone kind of makes them sound like good people, though. Oh, they are, so they're not cops. Never mind. They're good people. Can't be the police.
Yeah, they are, but there's the Church of the Deep. The Inquisition will go to whatever lengths to deal with incidents related to the church that worships Seaborns.
Fee! An organization that worships those monsters? It seems that cultish fanaticism is a plague wherever we go. I feel like people with all kinds of wrong faiths and beliefs are so common.
The Seaborns are the ones that messed Iberia up. So following their logic, apparently it's okay for them to arrest anyone who seems even remotely connected to them. Are you saying that Iberia is like this because of the Seaborns?
Those things from earlier? I guess they were kind of troublesome to deal with, but they didn't seem that strong.
Anyways, it's just what I heard from Gramps, but the Inquisition executed many innocent people too in their crusade against the Church of the Deep.
For those who proclaim to be on the side of justice, they seem quite fond of committing such villainy. It seems like a reasonable policy decision to me. But it must pose a clear danger to the daily lives of civilians.
Yeah, I heard I was the only survivor. Everyone in my family died.
You must have had to endure such a long period of pain. To be able to say something like that with such composure.
For Iberia, they are heroes who will bring the land back to its glory days. But to Gramps, they were just oppressors making his life difficult. That's why we've all come here, fleeing from the Inquisition's gaze.
Yet, wherefore hast thou decided to settle at a place that is so,
Run down?
Indeed.
Yeah, I know. But it's not so bad once you get used to it. Besides, we managed to find a new path thanks to you guys.
A new path?
Well, it's getting late. Will you be repairing the ship tomorrow, too?
This place really has no soundproofing at all, huh?
Good talk, everyone. Hope we'll get another chance to do this tomorrow.
After seeing Mayors to her own room, the other sinners, those who were still up anyway, and I laid ourselves on the hard stone floor, with only a thin layer of cloth between it and our backs. A mysterious world that is neither the city nor the outskirts. But it seemed that the lives its people led were just as difficult as they were anywhere else.
제 차례인가요?
책임은 모두
원하시
나를 불.
관리인가?
준비되었. 다들
말뚝을
자,
의외로군.
불로 정화하고 깨끗한 세계를 세우라.
It's so big!
Amazing! I didn't know there were remaining vessels of this class in Iberia.
I aspire an name here. Just go by the name Rebelión de las Masas. Rebelión de las Masas. Revolt of the Masses, is it? A name very much mired in peculiarity indeed. Hong Lu chimed in that he was rather fond of it, with its size being about the same as the boat from his home, while Ishmael quickly jumped in to say that its size alone wasn't anything special at the Great Lake, but it was still pretty big compared to Mephi or the Indigo Elder's skiff. Though it was going to be somewhere around Mephi's size at most. Are you sure you can get this ship fixed in a day or two? As I briefed you yesterday, the great majority of the time-consuming repairs have already been completed by the villagers. The extent of our repair efforts only concerns a few components within the vessel that the villagers could not repair, which shouldn't take us much time.
Unless parts that are unfamiliar to Faust are also malfunctioning, such as the core engine, remaining repairs should be sufficiently managed by Faust.
Despite Otis's confident declaration, I could not help but feel oddly unsettled as I looked at the ship. I don't know why, but something tells me that we don't want to linger here for too long. Still, please be thorough about it, just in case. I'd rather not sit on a sinking ship again. The experience at the Great Lake was enough.
Do not worry, Dante. Unlike Mephistopheles, most functions of this vessel, buoyancy gear, propellers, steering gear, are all in operational capacity. This repair should be much easier than the case with Mephistopheles.
They seem confident enough. Should be safe this time around, right?
Are we taking that rope to climb up the ship?
Clash Royale. You know something? I feel like every single time I'm like on the bus and I see like somebody's phone screen, they have Clash Royale open, and I don't know why. What is the grip that Clash Royale has on people? I used to play Clash of Clans. I don't anymore, but I used to.
No, there's a lift-like apparatus down here. It should take us up to the ship. Its stability was verified yesterday. Let us board the lift.
You're 100% certain, right? Oh, rad. Comrade in arms. You should have established a psychic connection with them.
The boat is afloat right now, Dante. I don't think it'll be sinking anytime soon.
Wouldn't that be nice? Very good, disciple. Oi, are you two just gonna faff about down there? Wait, no. No, we're going with you. As I made my way into the vessel's bridge, I was greeted by the extravagant interior that was as gaudy as its exterior.
This isn't real gold, is it? Sure is shiny as heck in here. Got butterflies in my stomach.
A.S. Aesthetically satisfying, she says. But too ostentatious. Not quite my style. Our young Mephi is also quite the excellent vessel, yet imagine the adventures we can embark on aboard this vessel most lavishly decorated. As Faust and Otis were working on one of the control panels, Ishmael walked up to another and interfaced with it before giving it a knowing nod.
This must have been an investigative or research vessel of sorts. But it does seem a bit extravagant for one of those, though. Look, coordinates. Updating in real time, it seems.
The coordinates seem to have been set to somewhere out in the middle of the ocean. Maybe it points to a small islet?
Nope, no islet there.
Oh! Blimey, lass! You shouldn't ought to sneak up on people. Mayors?
What? Did I actually surprise you? I did ask if you guys were gonna come fix the boat today.
Still, I didn't know you'd be here. Why are the coordinates set to this location?
There are several undersea cities beneath those coordinates, collectively known as Agar. Grant's home.
I see. Understood. Huh? What was understood, if I may ask?
It is now understood why the promise to repair this ship was sufficient to earn their trust and the title of saviors.
What's she on about? Someone get translated.
Consolidating and cross-referencing the observed particular circumstances at the village and the statements from the village chief, alongside information garnered from the exchange with the mayors, it is possible to gauge the significance this ship's repair has to the local populace. Of course, while this may constitute a sequence of logical connections that poses a certain challenge for Heathcliff to comprehend, to employ any degree of effort to attempt to explain it in more digestible language would constitute a pursuit of inefficiency.
Lower the baton. I implore you. I shall explain it in full. I was wondering when Miss Smartass would start gabbing like that again. So what's she on about? Heathcliff's shoulders were relaxed. It didn't seem like he was actually going to swing the bat. He placed it lightly over his shoulder with a sigh. A brief observation of the village seemed to suggest that their subsistence situation was quite dire. Much of their daily sustenance consisted of dried food, most of them made for long-term storage purposes. Considering what Scotty said about how the coastal areas are full of danger, maybe those dried seafood aren't from around here either.
Maybe it's food they packed when they first came to Faro Muerto?
Some villagers were armed, yeah, and those sea terrors weren't exactly that formidable, but given the state the villagers are in, I doubt they'd have an easy time repelling those monsters. Indeed, and that brings us to the question of sustenance. Right, I get what's going on here. The lass and her granddad are about to visit their hometown, and they're trying to get some food supplies from there to feed the villagers. And to convince them, they're planning to use the fact they're from the same neck of the woods. Sea, I guess.
Oh, so we're not just repairing their ship. We're repairing their food supply plan, too! Huh? What's wrong?
It's, While the expressions were rather crude, Heathcliff's summary of the situation was clear. It was clear, to the point, and easily understood. The sinner stared at him with mild surprise. And I did, too. What's with them annoying looks? Wait. Oh, you sods! You don't think I'm that dim-witted, do ya? Top-notch intuition. It's just that it's been a while since you've shown this side of yourself. Thinking back, Heathcliff's intuition has always been excellent, and he'd often put together surprisingly accurate conclusions with impressive speed. You know, when you really think about it, it's kind of your fault for... Ah! I've been too soft on you lately, haven't I? Oi, get back here! Now, with those fools out of the conversation, was he correct? Otis looks away from the usual chaos and asks mayors.
Honestly, I'm surprised. He was on point. Yeah, food's been running low in the village. At this rate, we won't last another year. But the Agar will. I'm sure they'll welcome us with open arms. I don't want to come off like I'm overly worried, but do you think they'll welcome the others too? Unlike mayors or chief, they're not Agar. I believe they will. Iberia suspects and hates the Agar for no reason other than that we're from the sea. But our home cannot have fallen so low as to abandon a group of starving land dwellers.
Prithee, might thou explain to us who the Agar are? I had initially thought it to be a reference to a region. It also seems to refer to an affiliation of sorts. Maybe there's something like nest dwellers? Though I don't think I've ever heard of a nest that accepts Backstreet's people with open arms.
Or maybe they used to be some rich folk?
They call themselves Nest Toffs Agar here. Does that make the rabbit-eared lass Agar too?
Wait, in the world you came from, did they not distinguish between races?
That is not entirely true. Delineation between races is a concept that does exist. I only saw them in the Fathoms. There are those terrifying things called the cuckoo spawns.
However, as a general rule, it can be said that humans should be the only intelligent life forms in the city. The people of Terra have slightly varying appearances depending on their race, like my goddess ears. And I've got pointed ears, because I'm an Agir. Though it's not a characteristic every Agir shares.
The closest idea to what they are discussing appeared to be, Don Quixote seemed to be struggling to finish her sentence. Mierso stepped in to continue. By context clues and the manner of the word usage, including the means of classification, closest example in our world would be blood fiends. Similar external appearances to humans, different natures, comparable sapiens. 'Tis of my belief that blood fiends are ostracized due to their nature that maketh coexistence with humans difficult. It may be that the Agir are also...
I'm sure some of them do possess qualities that make coexistence with others difficult, but they're probably rare.
And wherefore are they made subjects of suspicion and hatred?
That's...
Well, the language is new, but the idea itself is pretty familiar to the city folks like us. Think of feathers of fallen wings, kids born in the back streets, people who replace their body parts with prosthetics.
The form differs, yet in its essence we find the thread.
Something about how we keep finding these similarities in the ways of our lives, despite finding ourselves in a distant world with different rules, races, and humans. Felt oddly discomforting.
Ahem! The point is, you guys are doing us a real solid by fixing up the ship. Let's move on from these gloomy conversations, okay? I'm gonna show you the cooler parts of this ship. This way!
The ship toy may have to wait. The repairs are almost completed, but an issue has arisen.
Issue?
Wow, that's not reassuring at all.
Multiple life forms identified ahead, assumed to be a sea terror horde.
The ship's radar system seems to suggest that the vessel is surrounded.
They're the same monsters from yesterday. Executive Manager, please order us to prepare for battle. Damn it. Are they the sea terrors you encountered? They look a bit different, but yeah, probably.
There's a lot of them, but if our last experience tells us anything, we should be able to handle this.
Amiya, please support us in battle like you did yesterday.
Canst thou fight, young mayors? I feel like I'm just gonna get in your way.
Then, guys, find a place to keep Mayor safe as far as possible from the battle. Then let's hurry down there. We don't want them damaging the ship any further.
유감 없는 싸움을 기대하겠소.
운이 따라준다면 좋겠네요.
I love wind rate!
I love wind rate! Look at that! Look at that! Look at him go!
기대해라. 실밥이 터졌나?
훌륭하오. 이외 특별히 첨언할 일이 있어.
사람을 영입해야 하는 건데.
사무실 직원을 더 늘릴 재정 여유는 없고. 운이 따라준다면 좋겠네요.
잠든 그대를 기릴 테니.
적에게 침묵한 일정.
너무 쉽군요.
관리자님은 당신이 생각하는 것이 대단한 능력을 가지고 있다고 전에 말씀드렸죠.
실력 있는 해결사가
저는 언제나
도시에 많아져야
옳은
할
말만
텐데 말이야.
한답니다.
저도 더
Maybe I have, yeah, I probably have my voice up too high. Hang on. Cause I didn't yell there. I yawned.
운이 따라준다면 좋겠네요.
그럼 이번 전투도 쉽게 갈 수 있을 거야. 이런 건 뭉둥이가 약이지. 두드려 패.
Is that better?
적을 보는 건가?
스승님은 젊을 적에도 굉장하셨고.
왜 안에 갇혀 죽어라. 유효타 좋아. 계속 집중하지.
너희의 힘을 맡아서 이 혈투를 승리로 이끌.
다들 첫 여정을
아무튼
시작했을
놀라운 한방이네요.
정말 강해지셨네요. 매일 보아왔는데도 너무 쉽군요. 감회가 새로워요.
효율적인 대처로 개체를
너무
꿰뚫었습니다.
쉽군요.
참고로 기계는 입에 발린 말 따위 쉽게 하지 않아요.
필은 적확한 하나되었소. 영원히 잠들어.
Yeah, I guess in
여유가
hindsight I
생기겠어.
should have turned down the
목을 내놓고
I should have turned down
있더라고.
the voice capture volume
부탁하지.
earlier.
금방
Get him done!
작사를 내놨어.
제압 효과가 굉장히
너무
좋았어.
쉽군요.
기록적
이제야 회사가 정상으로 돌아갔네. 이번 제압은 끝이야.
너희들도 고생 많았어. 티페리트, 너도.
언젠가 우리도 모든 게 끝날
고된 목마름도 어버이를 향한 죄책감도 피를 마시는 순간에는 생각나지 않을 거다. 그러니 가릴 것 없이 마음껏 마셔.
죽음 충동 억제. 관념 봉인.
뭐야
떨거지는
화이팅
잘라낸다.
저런 사람을 영입 해야 하는 건데. 사무실 직원을 편히 쉬시게 여행은 없고.
잠든 그대의 길을
엄청나게 강한 일격을.
제압 효과가 굉장히 좋았어.
So
기록적인
like
피해량인 것 같아.
how about that airplane food?
꽤 나쁘지 않은 공격 방식이었어.
작사를 내놨어.
이러고 있으면 지금이야. 네가 너답해 있거든. 훈장은 사양이다. 방금 건 제대로 한 건 했어.
떨거지는
돌아가면 맥주라도
잘라낸다.
사야겠다.
직접 발견.
이외 잠든
아까처럼만 해. 그럼 이번 전도 쉽게 갈 수 있을 거야.
개체에게 일격을 가하는데
내가
성공했습니다.
어버이보다 뛰어났지.
목을
샴페인을
내놓고 있더라.
가져오기엔 너무 이른 타이밍이긴 하겠지만 이 전투가 성공적으로 끝나면
소류 경혈 오
모두의 희생을 기리며
라샹.
축제를 두는 것도 나쁘지 않겠지. 그러니 효과적이네요. 이 방식을 기억하는 게 좋겠어.
왜 안에 갇혀 죽어라.
적에게
I
치명성을
do plan
입혔다면
on doing
관리자님은
I do plan on either way
대단한 능력을
doing
가지고
the
있는
patches of militarity that I mentioned.
저는 언제나 옳은 말만
But
선택합니다.
my friend's undecided on
그대 또한 잠든
participation.
너무 쉽고
좋은
놀라운
일격이
한방이네요.
So until then,
도시에 많아서야 할 텐데 말이야. 목을 내놓고 있더라.
it's undecided.
아류탄초 경혈 찍겨라.
If he decides not to do it, I'll probably either get my other friend,
효율적인 대처로 개체를 꿰뚫었습니다.
who was in the
참고로 기계는
the
이대로
In Hell We Live
말
Lament
쉽게 하지
parody,
않아요.
직접
or
놓아주마.
I'll just do it myself.
이제야 회사가 정상으로 돌아갔네. 이번 제압은 끝이야.
너희들도 고생 많았어. 티페리트, 너도.
The remaining entities have all returned to sea. Is everyone okay?
It was just like our last skirmish. Sea terrors that had surrounded the ship returned to the sea before the battle even came to an end. And their retreat felt too orderly and deliberate to be just running away. It's almost like they're making a tactical retreat.
We're doing peachy, but what about the ship? Wow, is the ship okay?
Minor damages to the hull, but nothing that will impede the ship's operational capabilities. Whew. So, I noticed during the battle, I might be wrong of course, but I think I noticed how around the end of the battle, those monsters were starting to go after the manager. You're probably right, actually.
I noticed too. At some point during our battle, these monsters realized it's the manager who's commanding the rest of us. I sensed the very same. Their moments were fluid and adaptive, as though they were learning our behavior.
Why does the Church of the Deep worship monsters like them? Not ain't much of a question, innit? They must have all gone mental.
I'm sure they have many reasons, but Seaborns are beings of infinite potential. So much that there's no superlative big enough to properly convey the scale. As organisms, they can endlessly evolve and adapt. Every time they encounter a new environment or a new element, they transform themselves into other Seaborns. Maybe that's their job.
That fascination may be an attitude most befitting a researcher. Yet the transformation of fascination into idolatry is, if I may be frank, not entirely positive. I find them pretty uncomfortable. They just remind me of whales.
Then, can they adapt to learn a language and communicate with us? What? Going by everything we heard, I think they sound really smart. The mayor's eyes went round at Honglu's suggestion. She brought her hands to her mouth, surprised. It sure was something.
I heard that there was a Seaborn who could talk.
If non-humans speak the language of humans, regardless of its testament to their intelligence, I can only think of two possibilities as to why they would. One, to communicate with humans. The other, to deceive humans.
More often than not, it's the latter.
What about distortions? Some of them already know how to speak.
Distortions are a phenomena in which humans transform into monstrous forms, first observed after the White Nights and Dark Days incident. Therefore, that example is irrelevant to Otis's supposition.
White nights and dark days.
She whispered quietly, but as we were standing rather close to her, we all caught on to the hint of joy in her voice. Congratulations!
The pillar of light in the city. Did it really?
How have you come across this knowledge, Miss Mayers?
Congratulations!
Oh, that's...
Ain't obvious. We got the culprit right here. The storyteller lass who's been gabbing on with no end.
Yeah, she's been talking non-stop all morning about all kinds of stories, hasn't she?
Huh? Yet I have not gotten that far. You again? Lost in your own stories that you blabbed about all our company's secrets, have you? Nay, fie, I simply would not. As Don Quixote was subject to yet another round of scolding, Amia stared out toward the sea, wary that the sea terrors might start crawling to the surface once again, before turning toward us.
I wonder which of the two the Seaborns are. Their sense of self is really, really faint, so I don't think they'd be in either category. I think it's possible that they learned human language out of instinct. The power of speech might help them survive.
It appears that you, Miss Mayers, are quite the expert on the subject of Seaborns. Your knowledge of them goes beyond what fear for one's survival may yield, thereby suggesting a different means of acquisition. Do you, by chance, worship the Seaborns?
I don't worship Seaborns. Seaborns don't have any hopes or wishes. Just desire for survival.
Miss Mayers, does that mean that if Seaborns were somehow able to hope?
Maybe so.
Is that so? Their repairs are complete.
As we were conversing, Faust descended from the ship with a neatly organized set of tools borrowed from the village. Repairs completed. I'm guessing repairs are done?
Yes, the ship is ready to set sail.
Did you have a departure time and date in mind? I'd prefer if we could depart as soon as possible.
We don't have a set time or anything, but I think we should be able to set sail this late afternoon at the earliest.
That soon?
As you've seen, we don't have a lot to bring with us. By the way, how far out to sea do you guys need to go?
We need to find this dimensional door of sorts.
I could see a dimensional door's light from the beach at night. It was faint, but given how the light's strong enough to break through the sea fog, we should be able to determine its location somewhere around the coastal waters.
So, we can go back tonight?
The first order of business is to relay this news to the villagers.
Yeah, back to the village for now.
오랜 목마름도 어버이를 향한 죄책감도 피를 마시는 순간에는 생각나지 않을 거다. 그러니 가릴 것 없이 마음껏 마셔. 그게 우리가 이룰 수 있는 유일한 꿈이니까.
I think I'm going to reach... I think I'm gonna reach, I think I'm gonna get to stage 7. Yeah, I think I'm gonna get to stage 7, and then I'm going to clock out.
There's something going on in the village.
Yeah, I hear it too. I'm hearing people shouting and hollering. When we returned to the village, ship repairs completed, we were welcomed by a rather hostile standoff. A quick count told me there were approximately 20 people assembled at the village square. Considering its population, that was pretty much the whole village. Who's that over there?
Inquisitor. I think we've been found.
The Inquisitor, dressed in a well-kept uniform, was at the same height as Don Quixote. The sword and the lamp hanging from her waist sits in stark contrast with the more run-down, ramshackle village. She almost looked like a fixer from the city. So, the Inquisition has discovered our village. Did you really think that you could forever stay out of the Inquisition's gaze, citizen? That's a naive dream. Fabius disappeared from the Inquisition mid-interrogation under charges of suspicion and membership within Church of the Deep. Last known location, Salt Flat. The other Inquisitors have informed me that you have been identified next to pirates in its fringes. From a criminal to an outlaw. What a dramatic evolution of your career. But it ends here, now. Every citizen here, including you, will be accompanying me to the Inquisition. They have never broken a single law, nor are they outlaws of any kind. They are not like me. They've disregarded the Inquisition's authority, evaded the gaze of Iberia, and found this sodden coast to lurk in. Tell me I'm not supposed to find that suspicious. What are you talking about? We can't just start arresting people left and right with a tenuous suspicion like that. You shouldn't. We only wish to live a quiet life, ma'am. Is that so? Then you might find yourself returning to this village one day, as long as you're telling the truth. Which is not an option for you, Fabius. Mayors, was Chief really a pirate?
Well, yeah, but as far as I know, he's been out of the game for a while. And even when he ran with the pirates, all he ever did was share Finbeast jerky to villagers. Or carry agrians between them. Agrian, whatever. Even if you're telling the truth, Mayors, I doubt the Inquisition will be lenient.
Well, what now? We're gonna fight the Inquisition! Row, fight the power! I don't know what that's... Is that from, like, Power Rangers or something? I don't know. I have but one question to ask. That Inquisitor, is she following the proper legal procedures?
I don't know much about the laws of Iberia, but Dr. Kaltzit told us that the words of Inquisitors are pretty much the law here.
It is likely that she is following the proper legal procedures. The procedures are precisely what the villagers have fled from, after all.
Then it is decided. Otis quietly dragged me aside and whispered outside Mayor's earshot. The sinners who were right next to me seemed to have picked it up, though. Executive Manager, we best immediately return to the ship, take command of it, and sail out on our own. It is unwise to involve ourselves in this conflict, but that's not how Limbus Company rolls! Well, are you seriously suggesting we just let them arrest the villagers? Didn't you hear what the Inquisitor said? It seems quite cut and dry to me. If this is just standard procedure with no local laws broken, we are in no place to involve ourselves. Our best hope is to take the ship before they impound that, too.
We can't do that. Even if it is standard procedure, even if they're working within the law, it's not... You stayed up to hear Mayor's story too, didn't you? You know, the N-Corp Inquisitors were working within the law too, when they came for the village. That was standard procedure too. If someone, anyone, had stepped in then.
I know what you went through, but I'd still rather not take a risk in an unfamiliar environment like this. I will try my best to figure out how to sail that ship. If I cannot, I have faith in Ishmael to quickly learn its controls.
I can't say you're wrong, but... I don't know. Neither you nor I know anything about the ocean currents here, Otis. We can get the ship going, but I can't guarantee that we'll reach the dimensional door without any trouble.
Do you know anything about the sea currents in this region?
Not much, but I know the coastal sea somewhat. And you can't fight the Inquisitors directly here in Iberia. Fleeing with the ship might be the better option.
What should we do, Dante?
Yeah, it's kind of awkward for us to just take the ship and go, huh? How about we try to talk to the Inquisitor then? I think we should at least try to hear them out first. Them being the Inquisitor and the Chief both.
If the discussion goes well, we might even be able to get the Inquisition's support. Like Mr. Oliver said, we should hear them out first, then try to convince them.
I agreed with them both. First, let's at least see what that Inquisitor has to say. R.
Rabbit's right. She says... Are you certain that translation is accurate, Sinclair?
Right? There's no way Ryoshi would choose anything other than violence, right?
Idiots. It's because the other options are pointless. Inquisitor's seen us. We're already under suspicion. She will doubtless try to stop us if we flee now. So talk first, lower her guard, then attack. Pretty sure that's not what Amiya meant. Well, if she's already on to us, then we shouldn't give her any excuse to attack us by running away.
I was wondering what you were doing there, lurking in the background. A clock-shaped head? Are you from the Colombian Union?
They're wearing a clock for a head due to reasons. But they have nothing to do with the Colombian Union.
What's the Colombian Union? TikTok. What? Which language are they speaking? Regardless of whether you're from Colombia or not, you're clearly not from Iberia, let alone this village. You're not wrong, but I think there's been a bit of a misunderstanding. I'm quite certain you don't know enough about these villagers to stand between them and an Inquisitor. How long have you been staying here? 2 days?
Buddy, don't just tell her that!
2 days? All right, enough of the chicanery. Get out of my way, outsider. The attempt appears to have been made on quite the unstable ground.
Please lend us your ear for a minute, Inquisitor. I am Amiya, leader of Rhodes Island. Yes, I am aware of Iberia's closed border situation.
I felt hope swelling within me as Amiya began with confidence, unlike Sinclair. Alas, it was short-lived. Thanks to the Inquisitor's quick retort, I couldn't help but place my palm against my forehead at the exchange that followed.
Oh, so not only are we dealing with outsiders of dubious origin, we have illegal entry as well.
We had to, because the issue demands urgency, and...
I've been briefed. Brazenly crossed the border, didn't you? I don't know how urgent that issue could be, but I doubt it's anything more significant than the situation at hand for Iberia and its Inquisition. The High Inquisitor is handling the Rhodes Island issue. Stay put and await the consequences while he and that chatty med doctor of yours talk it out. Do you know that your treatment may depend on her negotiation skills?
As for the village chief, I understand that you have the right to arrest him, as he is a fugitive who has fled in the middle of an interrogation and has been sailing with the pirates. However, it is an inhumane treatment to arrest the rest of the villagers as well.
Inhumane? The decision is well within the rights bestowed upon the Inquisition. They've lived for years right next to that highly suspicious eye gear. The Inquisition must investigate the rest of them as well to verify that whether they have committed any acts of treason against our laws.
This isn't going anywhere, is it?
Listen, they've been surviving for years upon years by the coast without the protection of the Inquisition, and that simply cannot make sense.
Oh, I think I've had enough from you. Ain't it funny how you're blaming them for what is essentially a failure of your responsibilities? And now you roll up in here, only to go, they shouldn't be alive, I'm arresting them all! What, are you saying these people should all be dead or something?
I am. There's no other way to cut it. People simply shouldn't be able to survive in a place like this. Not for this long.
The Inquisitor's reply only seemed to fan Heathcliff's wrath as he lifted his bat and began striding forward. That's it. Lass, if you ever so much as touch the tip of a single village's hair.
Please calm yourself, Heathcliff.
But Hong Lu stepped in between them. Get your bloody hands off of me! I've had enough of her!
Continuing to threaten her will cause something irrevocably bad to happen. I believe you know that yourself, Heathcliff.
What do you suggest then? We clearly aren't making any progress by trying to talk this out.
Excuse me, Miss Inquisitor. What do you mean that people shouldn't be able to survive in a place like this?
I mean it literally. Even by some miracle that they actually do survive, they should at least be suffering from endless hunger, struggling to their wits' end at the inevitability of the calamity. But they look too healthy.
The heck? And shouldn't you be applauding them for managing to survive through so much hardship?
I'm an Inquisitor. I'm not some crazy person on a power high who goes around accosting and arresting civilians of Iberia straight to the gallows, okay? I have more than enough probable cause to take them in for interrogation. It's just that I don't have the time or energy to explain every single one of them to you outsiders. I promise them a fair judgment, whichever way that may be, after a proper investigation.
So stop it with this obstruction of justice. The Inquisitor brandished her rapier threateningly, her voice shaking with frustration.
Dante, without the full picture of the circumstances, Faust advises against further antagonization of a local political authority. I agree with Faust. I get the feeling that she isn't the kind of heartless Inquisitor that goes around indiscriminately executing innocents, like Miss Mayers told us about earlier. I don't think she's anything like the Inquisitors of Encorp we saw back at Cal.
They were right. We didn't have the full picture of the circumstances. Getting in the way of an Inquisitor, who's clearly a rather significant political entity in the area, was most likely a bad idea.
It isn't the Inquisitor's job to answer your questions. Continue to obstruct me, then...
As the standoff was showing no signs of ending.
Miss Mayers? I can answer your questions. So for now, let's do as the Inquisitor says.
Mayers, who had been hiding behind us ever since we returned to the village, suddenly stepped forward.
Yet, what of thy grandfather and the villagers?
It's all right. I'm sure this is happening only because the Inquisitor doesn't know.
What do you mean you'll answer the questions?
About the profound silence.
Mayer's response to Otis was but a single concept. I didn't quite grasp its significance, but it seemed to surprise the Inquisitor.
That's what they call the calamity that destroyed Iberia.
Yeah, this jacket I'm wearing is like so heavy. I'm pretty sure it's doing worse things for my posture than usual.
라만 차렌들을 뒤엎는다.
You.
Decades ago, a great wave ravaged through Iberia. It wasn't long before the seaborns carried by the waves diminished Iberia's brilliant civilization to this.
The waves. The profound silence then must have reduced the village to its current state as well. Is there any reason it's called the profound silence? It seemed to be the most appropriate moniker for a calamity like that.
It's because the sea went dead silent before the waves came. The silence then claimed ships out at sea, then the cities of Iberia, then the Iberians. No one could say a word in the face of the ineffable calamity.
What? Just what are you? No average Iberian citizen should be privy to any of the information you're sharing.
And the Church of the Deep is really capitalizing on the pandemonium that followed the profound silence. They pretend to be Aegir from the sea, delude the citizenry of Iberia, and are sowing chaos in her lands.
So that's why they're arresting the Aegir left and right. I can see through the thought process, but... Huh.
So, it's understandable why the Inquisitor would want to arrest us. Dante.
This isn't good. Sharing that's used to have been some kind of a taboo-like thing for the Inquisition. The Inquisitor wordlessly stared at Mayers. Her eyes were filled with traces of anger and confusion, but
she's afraid.
There was fear in the face of a threat. Not the fear of the terrified, no. It's the fear of someone who's suddenly confronted with something they must destroy.
The High Inquisitor once told me that, should I come across an Aegir who knows too much, there is a sliver of a chance that they may be of assistance to Iberia. Cease! Thou art threatening the innocent with the brandishing of that firearm! But most are seduced by the allure of the sea. Thus, they are, with little doubt, our foes.
I've got a bad feeling about this.
Get out of my way, outsider. Final warning.
Run! Quick on the uptake as always, Rhodia slung Mayers over her shoulder and ran past the villagers, while the sinners scattered in all directions to distract the Inquisitor. The Inquisitor draws her firearm, and, in the midst of all that action, Don Quixote rushed toward the Inquisitor without a moment's hesitation.
Don Quixote? Thou shalt go no further! I, a fixer of justice, shan't abide by as thou persecute them. Forsooth, 'tis a battle delayed, not avoided. This clash is inevitable.
In that moment of crisis, seconds before this could irrevocably make us a new enemy. Monter. I don't know, man. Oh, it's another woman. A large obsidian crystallization in the shape of a monster burst forth between the two of them.
Who is it this time? There's enough meaningless bickering.
Dr. Keltsit!
Do you know her?
Yes, she's Dr. Keltsit. Rhode Island Medical Department's... Ah! Dr. Keltsit, behind you!
Shoot first, talk later, is it? The negotiations are over. From this moment onward, Rhode Island is now operating within legal capacity on Iberian territory under the Inquisition's authorization.
The Inquisitor fired a blast at that firearm-looking weapon, but the monster summoned by Kaltsit managed to deflect it. And a cannonball thrown from the weapon punched clean through the wall of the building we stayed in the night before punching through several other buildings behind it. That was enough to instantly freeze the sinners and the villagers on the spot.
That penetrated a building. Though their walls may be weaker than the head standard for what counts as a building's exterior wall, to punch through so many is...
What a precise point it makes. Now's not the time to stand around impressed!
It is a violation of taboo to have that much penetrative power in a firearm.
We're not in the city. Don't lose your heads over this. Taboos don't apply here.
My head knows that to be true, yet my heart finds it difficult to be still.
That is enough of that discussion for now. It is advisable that we carefully observe and grasp the situation at hand, instead of deliberating on a taboo the jurisdiction of which does not reach this far.
Yeah, so the situation's gotten slightly better, right?
If she's Amiya's friend, she's our ally. Besides, she's got some super powerful looking prosthetic gear looking thing, too.
Is that what you think? I apologize for the disappointment, but I am not on anyone's side. In other words, your particular denomination ally might not be entirely correct. However, if I must define my allegiance, then let me inform you that the closest label would be that I am Inquisitor Irene's ally.
Dr. Kelton.
Amiya, outsiders. As much as you would like to deny it, the Inquisitor's suspicions are true. While it can be said that the process by which she reached that conclusion was unfair, the conclusion itself is, without a doubt, correct.
So they're actually connected to the Church of the Deep?
That is one way to put it. To be more precise, they aren't connected to the Church of the Deep. They are the Church of the Deep. Perhaps the village itself is a dilapidated church of their congregation.
Our village? A church? Just look at our buildings. Where do we even congregate?
Your thoughts, Faust?
There are not many resources by which we may analyze the decision. However, the fact that Amiya's colleague has made the same argument as the Inquisitor brings the accused defense into question. Yet, I can hardly believe that young Mayors is lying to us.
Hold on. You've been chatting plenty with that Inquisition or whatever. How do we know you weren't aligned with them the whole time?
I see. You really are all entirely in the dark. An expected outcome, given that all of you may be from a place far beyond the dimensional door. As fortune should have it, there is no need for you to know it anyway. Truth is truth unchanging, without the acceptance from an errant group of outsiders. Besides, soon.
I'm sorry. It seems that we've mired you in this trouble.
Say no such thing. We shall not abide by one We shall not abide by as one such injustice is perpetuated before our eyes.
The village has already been identified by the Inquisition. The Inquisition has even brought an ally. It seems quite unlikely that word shall resolve this conflict. But we promise you we will take responsibility for what is done. We have benefited far too much from your warmth and kindness not to do so.
The village chief, with a benevolent look, pulls a dagger from his cloth, and immediately knew what Kaltzit was about to say.
Take responsibility? You don't have to go that Blimey! We are now departing for the sea. Yet as we cannot bring ourselves to leave you here, I must ask you to join us for this journey. Become our bloodkin. For real, for real.
What are you doing? Stop!
The unanticipated, or perhaps I was simply in denial of this rising dread, ambush did not end there.
Damn it! The Inquisitor was right!
The villagers suddenly began shanking the sinners with weapons they had concealed in their clothes, and it seemed that they were coming for me as well.
Amiya, on your left!
Amiya materialized a black ribbon-like apparition, parrying away the dagger flying in my direction. But another villager rushed in, taking advantage of the opening.
charging villagers back made a visceral, crunchy noise. Someone flung them away.
Didn't mean to be this late. Scotty, let me catch you up to speed. I know the situation. The fishy smell is what I went to investigate earlier.
What about the sinners? Unlike Amiya and I, who managed to survive the initial ambush, the sinners weren't doing so well. At least we had a silver lining in that the Inquisitor and Cult's quick understanding of the situation and the subsequent retaliation led the villagers away from the sinners.
How? I didn't notice any hostility or aggression.
What an odd thing to say. Why would we hold any animosity against you? Why would we intend to kill you? We are not trying to hurt you. We are simply trying to give you a form better suited for the sea. Until we were obstructed. I apologize, for our unfamiliarity has caused you trouble, Inquisitor. I won't make a big stink about what happened. What's truly unforgivable is that the heretics tried to take advantage of the ignorance of outsiders to flee the Inquisition. And even if you are outsiders, any lives lost on Iberian soil are my responsibility. It's my fault. I'm sorry it came to this. Wait, lives lost? We're still alive, you know? We can shake off a stab wound like...
This is most unfortunate, outsider.
Huh? What?
Your friends are either going to die or turn into seaborns. The daggers that stabbed them were laced with the flesh of sea terrors. Once that happens, most die, and the survivors become overwritten by their cells, becoming nothing more than another sea monster.
Ooh, what? That's not a very big deal. Everyone was acting like this was it for the sinners, but hey, nice to be able to deal with this by turning the clock. It's not that bad. My only concern was that I didn't know what would happen if I tried to bring them back after they're fully transformed into seaborns. The golden bow helped deal with the whale's palladification effects, but I had no idea how it would interact with seaborn transformations. You just kill them before they turn.
I know this must be very hard for you, but for... What?
Sorry to bother you with this, but can you kill my friends? Ah, and preferably in the least painful way, you know? Oh, sorry. Was the last part kind of too much to ask?
Wait, don't give up already! If we bring them back to Rhodes Island, we should be able to do something to help them.
How should I explain this? Guys, can you...
Dante, I know what you mean, but... I just can't right now.
My strength has rapidly deteriorated since the ambush. It's kind of tingly too. So maybe they use some kind of paralytic cocktail? Just trust me this one time. I can assure you that I'm not just giving up on them.
But...
Amiya, can you understand the outsider's speech?
Yes. It's just that they're making a pretty difficult request. They want me to kill all of their friends before they transform into seaborns.
Okay. And before we even knew it, Scotty had already decapitated the sinners, none of whom resisted. Amiya seemed to have been taken aback by how fast Scotty jumped into action. What are you doing?
Scotty!
Don't let this spook you. This is just how we roll. The clock turns. Decapitated heads creep toward the headless torsos, connecting with the threads of blood. The sensation is that of reversal. It feels as though the sinners and I are severed from the rest of the world, rewinding in isolation. Is this rewinding us going back in time? Or are we defying the concept itself? This pain is multifold worse than the sensation of a straightforward decapitation. The pain is in the heart. As the current of death reverses, I sense a deep, crushing isolation.
Their wounds are disappearing. Resurrection, metempsychosis, or time reversal. Puzzling. I have no knowledge with which to interpret this technology. The cost seems to be that the pain is transferred to the one who rewinds. But that seems too small a price for such great power. The discussion of whether this can be categorized as power should be explored later.
I couldn't stop shaking. All of my limbs were trembling from the icy solitude. Still, I took a moment to collect myself and ordered the sinners. I don't know just what they were thinking, but we should be able to find out once we take them down. You dare to see the executive manager and try to take their life? Prepare thyself, for thou shalt now pay for the price of, making a mockery of justice.
Yeah, we can't just let this slide, you know?
How unfortunate. I had high hopes that all of you would become fine bloodkins. God, they're aura farming so fucking hard in this picture.
유감 없는 싸움을 기대하겠소.
가족을 위해.
There will be blood shed. The man in the mirror nods his head. The only one
이 방식을
left.
기억하는 게 좋겠어요.
Right up on the dragon's back, because mountains don't give back what they take.
잠들게.
I know there will be blood shed. The only thing I've ever known. Hey, lock in, Otis, lock in! Oh. That one cultist has like max SP. Is that one in particular just gonna end up being a pain in the ass?
아, 여기선 이런 공격이 잘 먹히는군요.
이럴 땐 망설임 없이 공격하는 것이 정답이겠죠, 스승님.
정확하다.
고귀하게.
지금이 바로 기회지. 왜 안에 갇혀 죽어라.
다들 첫 여정을 시작했을 때보다 정말 강해지셨네요. 매일
Come on,
보아하는
lock in, lock in! God.
감회가 새로워요.
There we go.
그대 또한 잠들게.
재밌네요.
꿰뚫려라.
이런 건 몽둥이가 약이지. 그대로 두드려 패.
방금 건 제대로 안 꺼냈어.
승리로 이끌.
돌아가면 맥주라도 사야겠는걸?
운이 따라준다면 좋겠네요.
아류탄초 경연 육시 찢겨라.
편히 쉬시게. 잠든 그대의 길을 훌륭하오. 이외에 특별히 첨언할 이유도 없고.
이쁘네. 네 피분수. 개체에게 일격을 가하는데 성공했습니다. 샴페인을 가져오기엔 너무 이른 타이밍이긴 하겠지만 이 전투가 성공적으로
떨거지면
끝나면
잘라낸다.
모두의 희생을 기리며 식도를 드는 것도 나쁘지 않겠죠.
직접 밝혀주마.
날 이해하는 감동적이지 않을 수 없네. 해결사 여행기에 이런 구절이 있었지. 어디 보자. 여행엔 목적이 있었지.
Ugh. So how about that Hollow Knight Silk song, huh?
오, 적합한 판단이었어. 덮어놓고 공격하는 것보단 적을 잘 관찰하는 게 좋네.
내 피분수?
해야 할 고통.
무기를 만드는 것만큼 내가 어버이보다 뛰어났지.
운이 따라준다면 좋겠네요.
산초류 경혈봉 라샹글.
예사롭지가 않은데? 아주 작살을 내놨어.
Nuke, 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 nuke. I don't care about passives.
왜 안에 갇혀 죽어라. 생각이 단편적이지 않아서 좋고. 방금의 공격이 정답이었다네.
방금의 감각은 기억해두라고.
너희의 무기로 이 혈투를
I don't care about passives. Just get that guy like right there, right now. Just kill him.
가족을 위해.
I know you can.
위험을 갖춘 그대로 무너져라.
재밌네요.
I know you can kill that old man.
아류탄초 경연육시 찢겨라.
피를.
제압 개체에게만은 정상적인 공격이야. 잘했어. 티페리트. 당연한 걸 한 것 가지고 이제 칭찬할 필요 없어.
Let's fucking go. We win.
목을 내놓고
Who
있다.
died? Like Otis might have bled to death out of nowhere. No, Otis is right there.
이제야 회사가 정상으로
died?
돌아갔네. 이번 제압은 끝이야.
Was it Honolulu?
너희들도 고생 많았어.
I don't know.
티페리트, 너도.
Wait, I think they're heading to.
He's running himself into a dead end. Are they seeking refuge at sea?
Wait, that's where the ship is. That's where they're headed. They're trying to board the vessel They're trying to board the vessel Massus. Wait, but we never told them the ship was repaired. So how? Alright, obvious. The whole village is in on it. I ain't surprised they'd send someone to spy on us. They know where to get the ship floating even in its broken state. Vessel Massus? Vessel Rebellion de las Masas. That ship is moored at port in that direction. Wait, it can't be! Irene, who was preoccupied with battling the rest of the followers of the Church of the Deep, who were in hiding, quickly gave chase. But Fabius and the villagers were already aboard the repaired ship, slowly departing the harbor with a horde of sea terrors between us and them. How can a vessel of that size become operational this fast? The exterior, the name. It must have been constructed during the Golden Age of Iberia. But how are we supposed to chase that? What if we built a raft and rode after them? Mate, come on. Seas full of sea terrors. We won't get very far before it sinks. Do you see something, Amia? You keep looking in that direction. Oh. The vessel Massus soon disappeared into the mist, and The village was left empty, with nary a sign of people ever having been there. As though this getaway had all been premeditated. Leaving only Mayors.
끝인가? 정말 한 톨도 남지 않았나? 그렇다면 어째서
Alright, and that's that for the stream.
끝나지 않나?
Just gonna go collect some rewards. Wait. Oh, that's Ishmael. Wow. Looks cool. Alright, more gambling. Please, God. Please. No! Absolute fuck all. Alright, hang on. Hang on. You know what? Never mind. That's the end for today. I'm tired. I want to go get
저녁은
my ingredients.
저녁만큼의 운치가.
Just get my past missions so I don't forget to collect them. Alright. Yeah. Thank you to everyone who showed up. I hope you all had fun, because I know that I did. And I hope to see you all again soon. Bye bye.